All right, about us. For more than 50 years, actually almost 60 this year, Grow South Dakota housing, community, and economic development programs and services have served the needs of local individuals, families, business owners, and entire communities in order to sustain our rural quality of life. Grow South Dakota offers unique programs. We offer business loans, business coaching, digital literacy, down payment assistance, emergency assistance, financial coaching, home loans, home buyer education, furnace repair program, and the weatherization assistance program. If you want more information on any of those programs, you can go ahead and look at our website, growsd.org. We have some upcoming events here. You can scan that QR code for more information. We have a Canva class on April 21st at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then we also have the basics of QuickBooks Online on April 28th at 9 a.m. Going to 11 a.m. So if you're having issues with that QR code or you just don't have your phone available, those events are also on our website, growsd.org. So today's course, we're going to talk about a couple of different things. We're going to go over briefly what is online shopping, common online risks, methods to stay safe, and what to do if you fall victim to a scam. So all good things when thinking about how to protect yourself while shopping online. So to start off, we have to talk about what is online shopping. Online shopping is the process of buying goods or services over the internet. Most common places to online shop, at least for myself, I don't know about you guys, is Amazon, Walmart, excuse me, and eBay. It's really easy to compare prices online. It's convenient. There's often more selection, especially in our rural area here. I know we are based out of Sisseton, and in Sisseton, it would be pretty hard to find some business clothes. You could maybe go to like a thrift store or the dollar store, but otherwise it would be tough. Why online shopping is important. Global e-commerce is already a $6 trillion industry, and it's projected to grow to 8.9 trillion in 2023. That is a very large number. We're seeing even across the board some box stores close, right? I know if you go to the mall around here, it's pretty sparse for clothing stores, or things like if you were to look for different electronics, things like that. This is talking about how to identify a safe website. And I put a little quote in there. I don't know if you would be here if you weren't interested in online shopping, right? I love ordering things online because when they arrive, it's like a present for me. That's definitely for sure. I know my husband could attest that I love opening packages. I sometimes even accidentally open his, and then I'm sorely disappointed because they're usually tools or something for him. Um, to look at the website, go to the top of your browser. There is going to be a lock symbol there. I did put it on the PowerPoint. You can see up here the lock on the Amazon.com website. That's how you know that it is going to be a safe website. Something to look out for is the pop-up ads or the redirection. I just pulled a few here. Temu is a very good example of pop-up ads. They are always like right when you log into the website or get into the app, the pop-up ads right there. Get $5 off. Get $100 for free. These are ads, right? And in the fine print, they'll say get $100 for free if you spend 1,000, right? So it's not necessarily straightforward, and it's just something to watch out for. I also put another one in here where it has the 10% off if you sign up for email, right? That's one that they get me all the time. I'm like, well, yeah, I want 10% off. But then they send me their emails all the time saying, promo emails. It's like once a week. I know the one of the worst ones that I get is Bath and Body Works. It's every day, I swear. Another thing is to, when you're checking a website's legitimacy, you want to look at the URL and see if it's spelled correctly. I put in there some examples of, incorrectly spelled URLs, right? The Amazon, you know, HomeDepot.com. Things like that are going to be red flags. Also, if you have the 90% off sale, right? This is all 90% off. Well, that's how are they making any money, right? And maybe if you know a company is closing, then you can maybe believe it is legitimate there. I know there was like Joann's Fabrics clothes. They had at the end there 90% off. And obviously that was legit. Research the company. My favorite thing to do when I'm not sure if this really cute top that I'm looking at is from a legit company, I'll just type into Google and put, whatever company is selling it, and I'll just say, is this legit? That's a very good way to come up there, especially with Google AI. It gives you the answer fairly quickly. You can also read reviews. Um, there are some reviews. I just looked at one the other day and it was all very, very positive things, all 5-star reviews. Well, that can be a little bit of a red flag too, especially if they're ranting and raving about how good the product is. You can go onto the Better Business Bureau and see if that company has a rating on the Better Business Bureau. Sometimes, if it's a newer company, they might have less ratings. Just be aware of that too. Almost all the time, though, if it is illegitimate, I can find it on the Better Business Bureau with people complaining about the company. Avoid deals that are too good to be true. I kind of talked about that already with the online shopping, the 90% off, the Shein, you can get $100 for free. Yeah, if you spend 500, $1,000, yeah, you can get $100 for free. But really think about, what are you actually spending to get this? And that's another thing too, if you're not sure about a deal, and you don't know the fine, don't can't necessarily find the fine print. You can go and look and Google and find that super easily as well. The first time I shopped on Temu, I definitely put it into Google and found out very fast that although Temu is very cheap, it's not going to give you free things like they say they're going to. This is just talking about using apps. It's safer to use apps than the website on your mobile browser specifically. You can go onto the App Store. You only have to download it once. You don't have to check the spelling every single time to make sure you're on the right website. And then, the App Store will also say, this is the app for Amazon, Target, Shein, Dollar General, any of those. It also provides a little bit smoother of a shopping experience. It's more personalized. You can see what you've ordered in the past. If you have a certain brand of peanut butter or dish soap or whatever, you can just go back in there most of the times and click it and reorder it. It also has a little bit of a simpler checkout process for mobile payments. It can save your information, and then you can just go and you put, I want to use this card online, and check out through there. We'll talk a little bit more about if you should use a credit card or a debit card. Creating strong and strong passwords and secure accounts, excuse me. Use long, unique passwords, right? I heard this once before in a class that I was taking, and it said to use a passphrase. And I gave you an example there. Um, don't use that one for those in the audience, because then I'll know what your password is. I'm just joking. But that is a good example, right? Whoever would think to use a passphrase, and then it's a little bit easier for you to remember as well, right? So if you have something that is unique to you, um, for example, my best friend is Sadie, or something like that. That is a good thing to do. And then also to enable two-factor authentication. This sends a call, text, or email to one of your accounts, allowing you to log in. You can also use an authenticator app. Um, if you need to use an authenticator app or prefer that, I would suggest looking into some different ones. And then avoid reusing passwords across sites. I know it's really tempting to use the same password across the board, but first of all, it's not always practical, right? Because some different sites have different requirements for passwords. Some want you to use letters and numbers and a certain character amount, right? And then some have limits or no limits at all in what you need for your password. These are some password managers. And you can just use as well what is built into your Google or your Microsoft account. But these are some other examples of password managers that are totally free to use. So that there's the Bitwarden, the Proton Pass, and the NordPass. I personally like to use what's built into my Google account because then I can just sign in to Google and use that across the board when I'm working on different devices. It is very important though to remember after you do that, log out of your account, especially if you're using a public Wi-Fi or a public computer. This is just talking about how to set up two-factor authentication on Amazon. I just picked Amazon. Across the board, it's pretty similar to anything else. I would suggest doing it on anywhere that you shop frequently. Um, and you can also do it on social media sites as well, like Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. I can't even count how many profiles I've seen where they have had their accounts stolen. And you lose all of that information, especially if you've had Facebook or any other account for a long time. Now on, anything that you use your credit card, if you get that stolen, then your credit card or your debit card or your bank account is also compromised too. So getting to it, you just log into Amazon, go to your account, log in security, edit next to the advanced security settings. Then you click on get started and next to the two-step verification. And don't worry if I'm going too fast or you're missing pieces of this. I will send out a copy of the recording to you after we are done. Next, you're going to go in and click on choose your verification method. You can click on the SMS, which is a text message, or the Authenticator app. They are going to send you a code, and you can add a backup option like phone or email. I would suggest doing this just in case like you lose um, connection with a certain account that is your backup. And then you click setup or complete setup, excuse me, and then this will be onto your device. Now, don't worry if you use the same phone or computer over and over again. You can add it to your trusted devices so you can skip the two-factor authentication prompts on that device. I definitely do that because I'm on Amazon way too often to be going through all of that every time. These are just different safe payment methods. Under absolutely no circumstances should you use your debit card online. It is much harder to use your debit card and dispute your debit card transaction. There's not as much fraud protection, and it's a little bit more harder to get your money back. You should use your credit cards because they have built-in fraud protection. It's not your actual money either. So you think about a credit card as a loan to you, right? You are using that money and then paying it back as a revolving loan. It's easier to dispute charges. Um, like I said, they have advanced fraud monitoring, and you can also get virtual card numbers on credit card. So if for some reason your card number was compromised, you just go in there and ask for another card number, and you can get that automatically. Some other secure payment methods are PayPal, Apple Pay, Venmo, or Cash App. Another way to think about this is that it's not your real bank account that's being exposed. If you don't necessarily have a credit card, PayPal is a great option of, being able to protect yourself. Your real bank account number isn't being put onto the site. It also has stronger fraud protection. You can do virtual payments, and then you can have quick freezing and reversing payments on PayPal, um, Apple Pay, Venmo, or Cash App as well. Still, you need to be aware, right, of whether or not the site is legitimate because it is a pain to stop or cancel or reverse um, on or fraudulent, excuse me, uh, transactions. You should also try using a VPN on shared networks. If you're traveling and you connect to the hotel's Wi-Fi, for example, you can download the app pretty easily onto your laptop or your phone. I have listed some VPNs there, the Proton, Nord, or Windscribe. You just have to create an account and then connect to it when you are shopping online. It's pretty easy and straightforward. All three of those are also free. Spotting online shopping scams, right? Common shopping scams are the fake online stores. I was have fallen victim to this before, as I'm sure many people have. My mom sent me a website and asked if I wanted to combine my order with hers to get free shipping. And I was looking at it and it was just like too good to be true. But I asked her, I said, is this, have you ordered from here before? And she said, yes. And so I was like, okay, sure, I'll put an order in. If it's not, if it's real, I got some cheap undershirts and socks. If it's not, that's not good, but not terrible either. I only spent $20. But it ended up ending in me having to get a new credit card number because it was fake. It had one letter off in the real website versus the one that I had ordered from. And I still to this day give my mom grief about it because she had told me, yeah, I've ordered from there. But realistically, I should have been paying more attention. There's also a lot of social media ads with deep discounts. I see all the time, especially after I've been talking about it. Ads for, these really beautiful dresses or different business casual clothing. And they're like, oh, $5 for this blazer. Okay, yeah, I wish, right? So, and then also emails or text messages pretending to be retailers. I get all the time where it's, Target, you've won money, or there's a sale or whatever. Just be aware and go directly onto the website or your app to see if that is true. Some red flags, there's urgency, right? If you see this little thing that I put on here, it's counting down to the time where my brand or my deal is gonna expire. And then I can get an extra 50% off if I act before that time, right? It's also, deeply discounting. It started out at 31.99 and now it's 8.12. Well, that is something just to keep in mind too. Um, there's no contact information, no way to get a hold of them. The Better Business Bureau, again, I like to refer back to them. They're pretty good about uh, keeping up with fake websites. There's no reviews or bad reviews, Um, people are more likely to review a product or a service when they have had a bad experience, right? So you might leave a restaurant thinking that was the best meal I've ever had, where you'd be more likely to warn them if the waiter had, spilled a glass of wine all over you on purpose. So just think about that too, where it is a catch 22 where you might have some bad reviews, um, but also it could not all be bad. The misspellings, this is a common one, but fraudsters are getting more and more crafty with the way they are doing things. They pop up as the correct spelling, but then if you hover or click on it, it could be misspelled. And then the buy today, act fast, buy today, kind of the same thing, where there's urgency, it's trying to get your brain to be like, oh, I have to do it today, otherwise I'm going to miss out on this deal. I put in here a little thing about how to spot fake reviews and sellers. We're going to do a little exercise here where you can see what review you think is real versus fake. Look at review patterns. If they have a lot of reviews on the same day, it is suspicious. It's probably a bot going in and getting paid to give some positive reviews. You can look for the verified purchase labels. I don't know if you've ever seen where they offer you the opportunity to review a purchase after you've bought it on, Amazon, Thrive Market also does that. And I think, Shein and Temu as well. And then just be cautious of all 5-star or all 1-star reviews, because people do, companies, I mean, do pay uh, to have their competitors reviewed poorly as well. Okay, so this is the first review, and I want you to look at it and tell me if the review is real or fake. And you can just put it in the chat there what you think. Is it real or fake? You can see there on the side, there's no age, gender. They've been a member since 2021, right? So I mean, they have a little bit of length. And it's really saying these are the greatest headphones ever, super high quality sound. You can connect without any worry to your Bluetooth. And then they put a very specific Bluetooth system in there. And then the headphones are delivered up to 20 they deliver up to 20 hours of wireless play. You should definitely buy one, right? And zero people found it helpful. So that's pretty telling, right? And then this guy also has 2 reviews, not a name, kind of just a username there. That's okay. And a 5, he's reviewed all his reviews at 5 stars. So we have one person in here saying fake. All right, let's see what we think. Yes, It is fake. It's a really exaggerated headlines. They're the greatest headphones ever, right? It's kind of short, poorly written review. It has multiple product details, which, if you're reviewing something, you're probably not going to put the product details in there, right? Few or no helpful votes, right? Nobody found it useful. And then the other things that I pointed out there, he doesn't have an age, gender, um, and very many reviews. Okay, another one here, another test. Is this one real or fake, right? She gave it 4 stars, Kiara did. She has her age, her name. She's been a member quite a while, 12 years, of and she has 65 reviews. Her average review score is 4.1, and she has kind of a nice written paragraph there. She doesn't have any, exact details, and she does point out a little bit of a caveat, right? The cord being short. So you can put in the chat there again if you think it is real or fake. Possibly real. Yeah, it is real. She has a profile picture. She has a very balanced review. She pointed out the one negative. She is, really describing the product. It has 90 or 89 people found it helpful. And then it is a verified purchase as well, and she has her information in there. So that would be a something to look for when you're looking at reviews of products. Pivot right into what to do if you were scammed. So I told you my little anecdote about when I was scammed. I did contact my credit card company and changed my credit card information. I didn't have any passwords that were directly tied to that, so I didn't end up changing that. But if you did, you would definitely want to do that. If you had used, I don't know, like PayPal or if you had bought something through Facebook, you would want to change your password. You can report it online to the reportfraud.ftc.gov and the Better Business Bureau. It's definitely helpful to see real people and their experiences. And then save all communications and stop the charges immediately. That's pretty straightforward, right? You want to show that you got a receipt for your order, but it didn't go through, right? This is just, what to watch out for. Make sure that the website is secure. Go to a trusted seller. You don't want to go on Facebook and find the first place that is selling boots and order from there. You need to make sure it's a trusted seller, right? And another thing I didn't have in here, but I wanted to touch on was on Facebook Marketplace. You sometimes see people selling different things. There are some red flags to watch out for there. If they don't want you to, if they want you to pay in advance, and especially if there's something that like can't be tracked, like a prepaid credit card, or they want you to send them some PayPal money, something like that would be something that would send up a red flag. Um, if they don't have like a common place they want to meet, if it's not real pictures of the items, those are just some things to watch out for. And then we also talked about safe payment methods. Don't use your debit card directly onto a random website. You can use those, your credit card, PayPal, Apple Pay, anything like that, just for an extra layer of security. And then watch for scams, right? I put a little picture of a sticky note with a password on there. Um, Treat your passwords when you're writing them down, treat them like cash, right? You wouldn't just leave cash sitting anywhere. You would put it away in a drawer, or not have it readily available. for anyone walking by to see. Especially if you reuse your passwords. I know I said not to do it, but I mean, who here doesn't? I know I have some go-to passwords that I always try if I get logged out, right? Oh, it's maybe this or this, right? So that is just something to keep in mind because if you do get compromised, then you have to change your passwords on all of those different sites. And everywhere you go wants you to log in. Now would be the time for some questions. I know we're not taking up the full hour, but I'll let you get back to your day unless you have any questions for me. And then I will send out the PowerPoint recording to you after today.